part of the protesting that's going on in Israel is possibly going to have more consequences than anybody has known so far. The Times of Israel is reporting that several top nuclear scientists said that they're weighing in resigning from Atomic Commission to protest the judicial overhaul. Several senior scientists on the Israel Atomic Energy Commission are considering resigning to protest the judicial overhaul. Channel 13 News reports a day after the government passed the first piece of legislation in its plans to weaken the judiciary. The network described the scientists as among several dozen experts who are responsible for the development of Israel's nuclear capability, referring to foreign reports about the Jewish state's nuclear weapons arsenal. The report, which did not cite sources, stressed there was no collective action, with the scientists deciding for themselves how they will act. It added that the scientists were still deliberating the matter with each other and their predecessors, along with heads of the scientific military community, but have not raised it with any superiors. So then The Guardian reports, what is Israel's judicial overhaul vote about, and what happens next? Israel faces a constitutional crisis after Parliament passed a key part of the government's changes. Israel's far-right and ultra-religious government. Now, remember that it's the ultra-Orthodox Jews that wanted Jesus' name erased out of Jerusalem and Israel and the gospel removed. But Israel's far-right and ultra-religious government has finally succeeded in passing an element of its wide-ranging changes to the judiciary. Legal action, a general strike, and possible refusal from upwards of 10,000 military reservists to report for duty are now on the cards as Israel's largest ever domestic crisis enters a new chapter. What just happened? After 7 months of debate, the government on Monday managed to scrap the reasonableness clause that allows Israel's unelected Supreme Court to overrule government decisions after a final vote of 64-0. Every member of the coalition voted in favor, while opposition lawmakers abandoned the Knesset plenum in protest. Earlier in the year, the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, appeared more willing to cut a deal with the opposition and temper the judicial proposals, but he was believed to be hostage to the demands of his far-right coalition partners, who could bring down the government if their demands are not met. In recent weeks, however, the Prime Minister has taken a more strident tone, promising that the judicial overhaul would go ahead and that it would safeguard rather than endanger democracy. A former Special Forces captain, he seems particularly irked by what he views as insubordination in the military. And Israel is now facing an unprecedented constitutional crisis in which the Supreme Court could strike down the legislation designed to curb its powers, and the government could choose not to comply. Other expected developments include stepped-up street protests and strike action, and a refusal to report for duty by upwards of the 10,000 military reservists. What else is the government proposing? Among a range of far-reaching proposals from Netanyahu's government are plans to allow a simple majority of 61 in the 120-seat Knesset to override almost any Supreme Court rulings, and to allow politicians to appoint most of the justices to the bench. Now, I could see, how they could now put in place every one of the Sanhedrin members into a position with no opposition. The changes are spearheaded not by the Prime Minister, but by his Likud party colleague, Yariv Levin, the Justice Minister, and religious Zionist Party lawmaker Simcha Rothman, who chairs the Knesset Law and Justice Committee. The measures could technically help Netanyahu evade prosecution in his corruption trial. He denies all charges. Levin and Rothman have a long-standing hatred of Israel's Supreme Court, which they see as too powerful and is biased against the settler movement, Israel's ultra-religious community, and the Mizrahi population, Jewish people of Middle Eastern origin. In particular, many on the Israeli right have never forgiven the court for decisions related to Israel's unilateral withdrawal from the Gaza Strip in 2005. And why is this happening now? Netanyahu's trial triggered 4 years of political crisis in which Israel was split over whether he was fit to lead the country. After 5 elections since 2019, in which politicians on both sides failed to form stable governments, a bloc of extremists and religious parties headed by Netanyahu's Likud won a clear majority in elections last November, going on to form the most right-wing administration in Israel's history. Full annexation of the occupied West Bank, a rollback of pro-LGBTQ+ legislation, axing laws protecting women's rights and minority rights, and loosening of the rules of engagement for Israeli police and soldiers are all on the coalition's agenda. What do critics of the measure say? Worries that the proposals will result in an erosion of democratic norms and the rule of law have sparked the biggest protest movement in Israel's history. With weekly demonstrations in Tel Aviv and many more outside the KNESSET in Jerusalem. There have been several days of disruption since January in which protesters have blocked highways and Tel Aviv airport. As the months have worn on, the protests have become more violent and hundreds of people have been arrested. The movement is largely leaderless, but significant pressure has come from members of the military who fear that the judicial overhaul will make Israelis more vulnerable to prosecution in international courts for war crimes. The tech sector has also been vocal, citing fears about foreign investment, and the startup sector. The U.S. President Joe Biden, who has repeatedly described himself as a true friend of Israel, has been publicly critical of the plans, urging his Israeli counterpart to seek broad consensus for such momentous changes. So what happens next? Months of compromise talks brokered by the president, Isaac Herzog, collapsed in June, and last-ditch efforts before Monday's vote ended in deadlock. And now that the reasonableness clause has been scrapped, it is expected that the coalition will immediately move to reinstate as Interior Minister the disgraced Aryeh Deri, who was barred from holding a cabinet position by the Supreme Court, as well as introducing legislation permanently exempting ultra-Orthodox men from military service and bills expanding Israeli settlement and control of the occupied West Bank. The current Knesset session expires at the end of July, and Parliament will reconvene in October after the Jewish High Holy Days. So that's a little bit more about this bill that they passed. You know, the ultra right-wing Orthodox are the ones who were trying to put laws in place against the women at the Western Wall. They didn't want them to have tallits or prayer shawls, to blow the shofar, to sing over there at the prayer section of the wall where they are. They don't want them to have the Torah scrolls, and they were mad because the Reform Jews came from America and handed the women a Torah scroll. So, from my understanding, the Reform and conservative Jews are not interested in having the third temple built, but the ultra-Orthodox want the third temple built. So, it's the same group that's setting up the Sanhedrin that was there when Jesus was convicted and put on trial, quickly and speedily to his death. So it's going to be the same group that rises up in the last days to they want to put themselves as the world Supreme Court and have the 70 nations represented in a building that they build that will be near the temple. And it's a circular building where they will meet, and they'll have a representative of each one of the 70 nations representing the countries of the world. So then, of course, they're going to bring in the one world religion right there, and all of these trade and tech deals going on between the UK and Israel. So, you know, seeing the last two videos that I made where I began to realize that the Jewish basic law was built upon British law because they were under the British mandate when they were born to become a nation. So a lot of their legal matters are based on the British law. So it won't be too far-fetched to understand how easily that King Charles III can be set up if they become members of the Commonwealth, as I mentioned in a couple of my videos already. So, you know, if the British law is part of their law, you know, becoming part of the Commonwealth of Britain and having the king, you know, be the peace broker between the Palestinians and the Jews, where he would kind of dictate what's what, I can see it all happening in the last days, in the time of Jacob's trouble. So I just wanted to give you a quick report on what is expected to happen next with this situation. The ultra-Orthodox are the ones that don't want the gospel there. And so little by little, like I said, slowly implementing one bill, then another, then another, then another, until there's, you know, no way out. And that's how I see it going down. And I just wanted to report a little more on this today. So I will talk to you later. Shalom for now.